Then I'm gonna go over here. Okay, wait a minute. What's going on? All right, there it is. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Welcome everyone to episode 848 of the Black Brain Trust. This is the Sapio-Females Guide to the Galaxy Persona. And with me, I have Miss Real Life is Not in Cyberspace. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Good, good, good. So make before I jump into it, I always got to do this because I always forget. But let's do this. First, we need to exchange pleasantries. So we want to say, yeah, yeah, we always do. I always screw up. Welcome everyone. So we're
Welcome,
gonna,
everyone. I'm going
yeah,
to.
we want
I'm doing a couple things. I had it up, but I want to put it open in a different browser
to.
so that
Okay.
way I can have the chat up.
No, we all good. I always just jump right into stuff and then just like, oh, dude, it'd be cool if you like actually welcomed everyone, right? And
That's
then what
true.
we also want to do is we're gonna pick this number here. We're gonna go press if and music is okay. All right. So we're gonna do that right there. And as people come in, if you guys could just tap in with us, let us know how the sound is, and then that lets me know. But all of the settings are the same, so everything should be all good. So with that being said, this real life, we're gonna talk about personages, right? That's what we're talking about tonight, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
you know,
I was
you know, good.
I'm like nodding my head or like we're on
I
the
was
phone.
doing that right
Yes,
as I was like taking a
yes,
swig of
that's
tea.
exactly what we were talking about
But
tonight. Yes.
without getting too wordy, I do want to do this, right? I
Same.
do want to just because I did put into the description, right? I put into the description here the definition of persona. Now, there's one interesting description there, right? But I think what we're going to do is based on what we were discussing, we're going to cover all three of these, right? But
Mhm.
persona, noun, the aspect of someone's character that is presented to or perceived by others, right?
Say that again for
Uh,
me.
the aspect of someone's character that is presented to or perceived by others.
Right.
A role or character adopted by an author, actor, etc., or
Hmm.
in a game.
Hmm.
Now, this is the interesting one. In Jungian psychology, the outer or assumed aspect of character often contrasted with anima,
Right.
or
That's the one.
i.e.
Yes.
the animus, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what persona. Is there an echo? I'm hearing something in the.
I, I don't know at this point. I don't hear anything, but maybe.
If somebody zone, you're there. Do you hear echo? Maybe it's just me. Let me know. Before we get too all into this, right? I want to make sure we get the audio sorted out.
Her side echo.
He said her side echo. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Well. Okay. Let me see because this happened before. As you see, I have the earphones on. Let's see what's going on. Hold
Okay, no problem.
on.
Okay, so while we getting that sorted out,
How does everything sound now?
let's see
Her side echo.
her side echo. No, there's still I think a yeah.
Jeez. Uh, disable the computer from playing the sound. Yes. Well, I have the earphones on, so that means the audio is coming from the computer to the earphones, and then the audio is going out from my mouth to the microphone. So I'm not too sure what else I have to do here. Hey, stop taking the
Let's see here. You know what? I think it's in the if you go to your settings, Go to settings and then go to mic and then see if the mic is selected with your headset.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, no, we're all good because we're also known as the tech channel, so
Yes.
we do this kind of crap also.
Let's see what happens if I try this. Is that better?
Actually, I don't hear an
Make
echo.
sound only play from headphone only. Okay, I got it. But I think I did something that also helped. Did that help?
I think so. Yeah, I don't hear an
Well,
echo.
that's excellent. Hold on 1 second though. Hold on.
Okay, that was quick. Shout out to Zone. No echo. So Zone helped us out. He said, "Yell louder." Get out of here, bro. No. Uh, so we were sorting out a quick little audio issue as we get into this, but yeah, for those of you guys that are wondering what the subject matter of the topic for tonight, it is persona. Uh, definition is down in the description. We're going to touch on the 3 different sort of descriptions of it.
Okay.
We all good?
I believe so.
Sound good.
Okay. So
Sound good to me.
going back to yell louder. Okay.
Yell louder.
I'm interested in the definitions always, so I'm glad you read them. And also, I often will purposefully, even if it comes to me, to look up the definition after we discuss what we're talking about. I rather wait until Sarah's just running around the house, so I'm gonna catch you around. So I rather focus on that. So let's talk about the Jungian definition. So yes, this idea of what's placed forth as, because really what Jung is saying there is the idea this is the person's personality, right? So the persona is actually what a lot of people would define as the personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, is there something separate from the personality versus the persona? And someone really intelligent, I'd argue one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, probably will ever meet. An older woman said to me that, why am I yelling? I don't understand. Why are people saying I'm yelling? Am I yelling?
What the hell is that? And why is she yelling? No, that's Naf. He's just Naf.
Is that trolling?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Did I not understand what happened there? Okay.
Yeah, that's Nav. Yeah.
Okay. Because if y'all want to get to yelling, I'm kidding. But so yeah. So this idea of, like, she says, she's always kind of struggled with the idea of personality and thought maybe that she doesn't have one. Right? Oh no, he's saying I'm loud. Because my microphone settings could be loud. I don't know. Zone, tell me what's going on, Zone. I'm not listening to that. I don't know you, son.
No. Zone is saying Naf got issues. That's why he's telling him to turn his headphones down. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I'm paranoid. He's telling me to turn my headphones down. I'm like, what else, y'all want me to stand on my head and put the Wi-Fi from my antenna through my hair? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
What were we talking about?
All right, so we got to circle back to this so you can kind of get back into what you're saying. There was a woman that you met.
Yes, and she struggled with the idea of personality. And this is really interesting because when she said it, there was a premise, obviously, and then she got into it, and it made perfect sense because really once we've understood knowledge of self, we know ourselves, and then we expand that to the macrocosm, then it really does make sense for a really intelligent person to struggle with the idea of personality. And here's where Jung's definition of persona is really perfect, because it's kind of like that thing that you keep pushing forth, even if maybe, like, let's say, when people are dealing with things such as like death, right? But they still have to keep up whatever it is they're doing. They have to go out to the supermarket, and sometimes if they're dealing with people on a regular basis, they know these people, say what's up to them, and have some sort of semblance of functionality, right? So this is persona stuff. And this is, in my opinion, this is the only way to really see what the true personality is. So she and I had a long discussion about this, which, carried over to several different things. But the idea of feeling so a part of everything, where you don't really feel like you have this thing that other people have, that it's like, yes, this is my everyday go-to. That makes a lot of sense, you know. So I thought that was very interesting.
Let me
Uh,
ask you.
yeah.
I have a question. So recently, I heard something to the effect of, um, 50% of people do not have an internal dialogue with themselves,
Hmm.
right? So I would say that, or let me ask you, do you think that if one has an internal dialogue with themselves, meaning that there's a recognition that there's a part of themselves that observes how they're actually being, and then there's a recognition of that, and it's sort of like these, like, why do you do this, why do you do this, why do you do that, like, why do you continue to do this, and it's like a self-questioning, right? Wouldn't
Hmm.
that be like that distinction?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think this is why exactly a thinking person would have a struggle with this sort of idea of what is a definitive personality.
Hmm.
And you know, what you're mentioning, I think, is very normal. Like, if a person doesn't have an internal dialogue, it might not speak to them in the way that you specifically said, right? Like, maybe their internal dialogue is just kind of them. And it's kind of like their voice sort of in the background, maybe with words sometimes, but not always with words, just kind of just there,
Hmm.
and sort of a mental reference versus an actual separate voice. I think that that's probably a given, right? So then when people are dealing with the shut off of it, or the weight getting way too intertwined into it and not being a part of the actual world, right? These types of things that go on, then I think that that's where the splits happen, the chasms happen. And you know, we can look at a lot of different potential personality disorders that would develop from this idea of struggling with the persona at a very early age and not being able to really do anything with that, because we all kind of go through that. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
but the internal dialogue, so this is like our reference, our self-monitoring reference that we have to have. And if we don't have it, like these are people who are going out into the world, and they're like, because it's automatically there, like I was saying, so they have to purposefully shut it off. And the only reason somebody would do that is to deal with something, to cope, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
When
That's a word that's kind of been tossed around this area in the last few months. Cope, right?
You know what's
And
interesting about that? Real
what's up?
quick before
No,
you say
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
remember when we did the interview on my channel and we talked about people kind of differentiating these sort of YouTube spaces as a place where people have open discourse, or a place where people are able to deal with what they're going through? I'd never heard at that time when I asked you guys that question, I had never heard this concept of coping spaces and associating that with what was going on with, you know, discourse.
Hmm.
And I thought that was so interesting. So yes, I just wanted to throw that in there, but please continue.
No, it's what it is. Largely what that had to do with, and I think that might actually tie into what it is we're talking about here, right? Like, ego projection. There's a lot of fake personas, right? Like that are, so these avatars, these YouTube channels, and then the platforms themselves, where you don't really see people's faces, you don't see a representation of them, you don't really hear their true expressive thoughts, but it's more of like a product that they're trying to present to you. This is a packaged persona that they're doing this under the guise of, right? And so the way this whole digital, social media stuff works nowadays, it's very pervasive. That's why they use terms like influencer. Or, we were talking about this last week,
Sure were.
right? We were talking about this last week, right? And this is why they use these types of terms. And so, you know uh, uh, w- I think that technology is like kind of re-terraforming how it is that we develop our persona, so to speak. I'm of the thought that, no matter what venue you find yourself in, you're always representing yourself as your truest self, regardless of if it's online, in social media. at the workplace or shit at the grocery store, right? I think to me it should be the same across the board. However, we're in this new age and this new time where people can kind of create these different personages, right? They can be who they actually are because that's the person that they've grown up as since childbirth, right? And they'll never get away from that person. That's the person that when they get up every day and they go into the bathroom, they see that person in the mirror. That's the person they'll never get away from. However, they can create this new person over here on this platform and then this person over here or this, right? And then it becomes a whole thing separate, right? They feel one way when they look in the mirror and another way when they log on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if something happens when they log on that really gives wind beneath the wings of that existence, then they're going to run with that, right? And here's where these personas start to take a new sort of life and breath on social media. Because let's start with the filters. Okay, let's start there.
Yeah.
I was really disturbed when I started to see a lot of pictures, and I only started to see this on YouTube because I've not been, well, man, let's go back. Let's start all the way back.
Mhm.
So I went on a blind date, and it was one of the very few I'd ever gone on. And as we're sitting
Done
there
that
chilling,
before?
huh?
I see you done that. And I'm just curious about that. Like, I haven't heard one of those since like maybe the 90s.
Yeah, this was in 2004-ish, 5. And when I say blind date, let me make sure we're clear. So I had spoken to the person and we talked a lot. We actually met. So okay, I forgot. It's kind of like when we talk about thick, right? Do you mean fat or do you mean thick? No,
Wait,
no,
don't bring that back up, please.
fat. I'm always gonna bring that up. So like, let me say hi to my sister, any woman, real quick. So we met. Okay, he was hosting an event, and I'd gone to the event. We met there. So he asked me for my number. It was that normal traditional thing, and then we went out on a date. To me, that's a blind date because I don't know him like that. You see what I mean? So
Okay.
since we don't know each other, it's a blind date. So I don't mean we met on the internet and it was like, hey, what's going on? I like your profile. No. So he starts telling me about Friendster. Now we're in the middle of some corny ass New York lounge. Okay, I'm like way past this shit. I'm on a blind date. And we're chilling, and he's telling me about something called Friendster. Now I hear Friendster, and I immediately want to laugh because the name is corny as I don't know what. So then I'm like, "What's the?" He's like, "Are you on Friendster?" I'm like, "No. What is that?" Yo, you on Venmo? It's a joke me and my friend have. So, so you ever saw on Venmo how you can see like so and so sent someone money for thank you? You ever see that? It's like so intrusive.
I mean, wait a minute, dude. They're like literally like pocket watching like that.
Yo, not only are they pocket watching, they're pocket Paul Revering out this bitch. Excuse me.
God,
Yeah, and
dang.
like yeah, I was like, what?
They're just,
There's
they're
no
just
reason
telling,
to
they're
know
just
my
telling everybody who's
high
sending
school
money
sent
and
his
where.
daughter $175. Like, what?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So so boom, right? So I'm like, nah, what's Friendster? So he's like, yeah, it's a place where people go on and they have like a profile, but he doesn't mention the key part. So I'm like, yo, that sounds horrific. And he's like, nah, it's a good place where you can like bump into people that you haven't seen since junior high school. Now I'm interested. I'm like, oh, I like that, you know?
Yep.
So, but I'm not doing Friendster because at this time when he's talking to me about Friendster, MySpace is already there. So then he tells me about MySpace. So then I go onto MySpace, and that was like my introduction to social media. But the filters. So when I first put up my profile picture, my thought is this should definitely look like me, but not enough like me where if somebody saw me down the street, they could be like, oh, aren't you so-and-so that you and me and Tom are all friends? Like, we're not doing all that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that was kind of how I thought about it. And then I started to see these pictures. Here's the disturbing part I was getting to. Of women specifically. I saw some guys do it, but it's mostly women. Pictures of dog ears and just animal sort of stuffs. And it's
You know, when they
interesting because
put
when
like
you think
the
about,
filter over their face with the like the pup nose,
yes,
and
exactly.
I literally never understood what that was about.
Me either. Now, if someone is a kid, I totally get that, especially if you want to keep some anonymity and all that. But as an adult, no, it's very disturbing because there's something ill about you wanting to be a cartoon. Like, what are we in Korea? And then on top of that, even if that's your thing, like I'm not even gonna judge that because I like some cutesy stuff too, and I like pink and whatever. But at the same time, there's something very odd about that. But the fact that that was given like an okay, and that nobody was like, "Yo, why you have dog ears and a muzzle on your face?" Like the fact that that was okay was strange to me. Now I'm totally anti-filter. I don't judge people for using filters. That's totally fine with them. But to me, you're immediately lying immediately. I look at it as a Gen Xer. I don't know if that's the reason or if it's just me, my personality, but I look at that as a lie. It's a lie.
Okay. Let me ask you this: what do you think about when guys say makeup is a lie? Just out of
I think
curiosity.
I think to some extent they're correct. But it also depends
Okay.
on the makeup, especially nowadays. So
Hmm.
nowadays makeup means contouring your face to look like a whole different person. And you can just Google in before and after makeup and you'll see what I'm
Right.
talking about. I'm talking about a person who literally looks like a different person. They'll say, look at my Beyonce makeover. And it's like, what? So that is definitely makeup and that is definitely dishonest. But the definition of that makeup is contouring, right? So
I heard
there's
about a guy in Africa recently who I guess the whole time he had been messing with this chick, he was like she would be totally made up when he would be dealing with her, right? So he married her. And so I guess she went into the bathroom, washed everything off, and this dude damn near ran for the hills and immediately divorced her. And
uh-huh.
now it's kind of like there's two sides to this, right? There's two sides to this that I find quite interesting. One is what you were just talking about, the contouring and doing all this stuff to completely make yourself look like something that you don't look
That's
like.
the new definition of makeup. Like you got some people
Yeah,
arguing that's just makeup. It's
yeah,
not. That's literally like you take a blank sheet of paper and you take some charcoal and some graphite to it and you create a person. That's different than that's the makeup they're talking about. No.
but okay, but then check it out, right? On the guy side of the equation, you got a lot of guys that for whatever reason that they see that shit and they go for it, right? And so then he got it, and then he saw what he really had, and then he got rid of it. So I guess maybe what he has a newfound appreciation for natural beauty now.
Well, a lot of these guys they say that they prefer natural beauty, but there are two paradigms. One is the one that you just discussed, where the person's a
Hmm.
totally different human being that comes out, right, of the bathroom. And then there's the other person that they they are different when they have makeup on and when they're natural, but it's not a different person, right? So for example, I have on lip liner, right? That doesn't make me a different person. Like, and that is makeup. So, I mean, when it comes to things like that, that's not a lie. When you can see the real person through it, that's not a lie. Now, if somebody wants to enhance something, let's say they have bad acne, this is a really popular one, and they're covering that up. Is that a lie? Well, technically, yeah, because they're saying they're without saying anything, they're saying that they don't have the spots on their face that they have. But
Right.
I think most guys will not look at that and say, "Oh my gosh, that's a different person." We're talking about the stuff where the person's nose and eyes and everything's just different. That's not
Oh,
how is and if a guy did that, it'd be so feminine. So that right there tells you that there's something very, avant-garde and makeup-y about the whole thing.
okay. So look, let's go a layer deeper with it, right? Let's go a layer deeper with it, right? So you do the contouring makeup, you do all that, right? does your does your attitude change? Do you become also like a this sort of alter ego-ish type of person that coincides with this new look? You
I'm
is
not
it like does the person that presents itself along with this contoured look, right? This whole sort
sure.
of like glam whatever look, right? Is that the same person that's present when you take all that shit off?
At first, I was saying I'm not sure, but then as you were reiterating, maybe I am a little sure. Probably not, but I don't think
Mhm.
there's too much of a difference because it's like if I put on a beekeeper's outfit and go into the bee hive, but I'm afraid of bees. That's still my fear of bees didn't change, right? I'm a little bit more prepared to handle it, but my fear of bees is still the same if there is a fear there in place, right?
Mhm.
So for people who feel comfortable wearing all that contouring, they feel comfortable looking like something that they're not, which means I would say that that would beg the state, or that would force the statement that they're not totally happy with how they look, which I'm not chastising. I'm not even chastising any of it, honestly. I'm
No,
just talking
you're
about
not
it.
chastising anything.
Right. But then that makes it something that would make them more comfortable if they have that on. So I would imagine that that would spill over into behavior and a confidence quotient in terms of practical application, but there's still going to be a deficit of self-confidence there, because if someone knows that they have something fake to help them feel that, it's not going to even feel real to them, especially to them.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
The belief in the notion that it would we dare call that delusion?
Say it again.
I said the belief in the notion that it would we dare call that delusion? Right? Like so for
Believe
example,
in
like
the notion that it would give them more confidence in me.
yeah, yeah. So for example, like
Yes,
the
that's
like
that is delusion. Yes, if
okay.
there's actual confidence felt, because even if they know the lie, well, no, if they know the lie and they can feel it as they're feeling that pseudo confidence, then no,
Yeah.
it's delusion. But if they're actually feeling it and they know it's due to that and they're still okay with it and they can for one moment be in it, then that is delusion. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's the thing. The human psyche is like very easy to trick oftentimes, and I'm saying like it's so easy and so pervasive for people to kind of like switch roles. Like in the black community, right? They they talk about code switching, right? Like people who can code switch, right? Um, I don't know. Is that like another example of what we're talking about?
Yeah, and I see that happen. It's funny that you're saying the men do that, and the
Hmm.
men accuse other men of doing that, because the women in these so-called spaces are,
So called.
it's it's shameless, because all this pandering and this, I'm gonna talk down to women because I want to be more attractive to men. Like, not only is that obvious, it's sad. Like, self-deprecating is, first of all, I think that's a very masculine thing. And I think that a lot of times it's used to temper what might be an automatic sort of bravado read by other people, even if the
Hmm.
person is not purposefully trying to do that themselves, right? Some people just know how they resonate and they can kind of alter that
Yeah,
somehow.
self-deprecation. I use it quite often. It's a way to diffuse.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But when women do it, and when women do it in these so-called spaces, they do it in a way that it's clear that they want to seem like they have a mindset that's different than the average woman, number one, because the groups that they're talking to are men that don't have respect for women, obviously don't know any upstanding women, unfortunately. And because of that, have this feeling. It's kind of like the woman who says all men ain't shit because she has three baby daddies who don't love her, right? So
Well,
somehow,
all
because
three of all three of those ain't shit. So that's representative of the fact that basically all of them ain't shit. in
Not to
totality.
mention the fact that she has them in the first place, and that her choices have a lot to do. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like, so
Right.
it starts out as a is this true? And then it's like, okay, this is true, so they're gonna keep telling themselves it's true. That's the easy answer, right? But the other part is that sometimes those are the only guys who give them the time of day, right?
Oof. I mean, you know what? Is I truly do believe that there is something to that whole uh water seeks its own level type of thing, and I just think that people are in denial. I mean, what say you about that?
Yeah. Okay, Rainy Woman, I just saw your chat. Your comment. Yeah.
Really, that's what she's got going on right now.
Yeah, she's soaking her
She's
feet.
Wait,
Yeah,
okay.
she's the one that accidentally dropped the computer into the
Yeah,
soap bag.
you
I'm kidding. I'm
we
kidding.
don't want her to do that, and then next thing you know, it's like a whole. Well, I'm trying to remember what movie that was, where like somebody threw a hair dryer that was plugged in into a bathtub. It was some 80. It was some 80s movie. I can't remember.
Was it Deadly Friend or something?
It was like one of those movies where it was like a chick in a bathtub, and then somebody walks in, and they have the like the hair dryer, and they're just looking at them, and it's just like, oh, this is terrible because this person's in such a compromised position, and it was just like, yeah, I know, boom, and then it's just like, they acted out the scene and all that, but
I've definitely seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I
yeah.
can't put the movie. Yeah.
See, my problem is that I saw it so young that it actually traumatized me, and that there's literally been a scene. I don't keep anything with electronics around anywhere near the bathtub or nothing because of that movie.
Well,
It's
that's
just
good because you probably shouldn't.
well, yeah, I think that was actually the ultimate like lesson from all that. That you shouldn't. So I think I learned what I was supposed to learn. But
Yeah.
Naf said, "What the hell? Be more attractive to men." Wow, Naf. I think. Let me just make sure. So you were saying that there's things that are done from a pandering standpoint to appeal or be more attractive to men. I just want to make sure so that Nav has that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay, so Nav, if I don't know, you said what the F, but I was like, I think that was the point she was trying to get across.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
it's sad because hold on, my computer's trying to do a software update. Let me tell it to wait.
Sheesh.
It's sad because nobody should find, let's start with the men with how I'm gonna diss the men real quick.
Okay.
Nobody should find someone more attractive because they're putting themselves down. I'm not talking about what you and I were talking about in terms of diffusing, right? I'm talking about the pandering. That's one. Two is that it shouldn't feel good, and a woman like that is dangerous because, in my opinion, a woman like that will do anything she can to keep men's favor around her, and it's not by virtue of her just being herself. It's by virtue of her disrespecting the other, right? It's so easy, it's cheap, it's lame, it's pathetic, and it does not reflect self-love. And on top of that, when they do it and they get the feedback, the positive feedback from the broken men around them, it's the same cycle that we were talking about when we were discussing this idea of the unsaid agreement behind a lot of these panels on YouTube. We're talking social media. I'm talking social media right now, so we're talking YouTube right now. And I think that that's a classic example of that. So, that's sad. And that's the same type of woman. And a reason why I say she's dangerous again is the same type of woman who will excuse a man's behavior just because of the sake that he's a man, and it stands up to whatever false talking points the person's putting forth. So this is the type of person who, if a child was victimized, they're immediately going to associate their talking points and how those are going to stand up to what's going on. That's dangerous.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like attaching. It's like what do you call it? Like one of those lawyers that they literally kind of like an ambulance chaser.
Yeah, that's what you call them, right?
Right, like, and it's just like those are like some of the sickest bastards ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of similar to that. I think there's like a flip side to that on the male side of things too, right? Because I think there is this whole sort of burden of performance type of thing with men, and we've been talking about like the effects of like social media and how people keep getting bombarded with a lot of shit, right? On the women's side, it's a multitude of messages, right? You know, he's got all these six figures and up. Don't go if he's trying to take you to the cheesecake factory and all
Right.
this other
Right.
shit, right? And then, on the dude side of the equation, it's like, dudes are like, ignore women and get your money up, focus on yourself. These aren't bad things, but it's sort of like, how do you ignore people that you see on a daily basis? Like that's a weird sort of re-terraforming, um and trying to reprogram what's actually already present and natural, which is to interface with other people, right?
Mhm.
So there's this whole digital realm where, there's a reprogramming of humans taking place, and it runs juxtaposed to how they are naturally inclined to interact with other humans. Okay.
Mhm.
Then you
Mhm.
have also individuals who, they create like these philosophies and all this, and again, these are personages that they create that espouse these philosophies. Now, how
Mhm.
true they live these things in the real world and in real life, we wouldn't know because we can't verify,
Mhm.
right? We can't verify. And you see a lot of that from the male side anyway, in terms of this whole sort of persona conversation, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that last time with delusions of grandeur. Mhm.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We totally see it, right? See, so there's the female side of it, and there's the male side of it, and I think it expresses itself in different. Well, I would say like the female expressions of it, they mirror the male expressions, but
Mhm.
the actions themselves look different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's dangerous because there's a natural inclination in a woman and any person to not want to purposefully put forth what they're saying and stand by what's right. This is something that people generally consider not being upright, right?
Mhm.
um but somehow that's considered so okay when it's obvious what's being done, and that's really embarrassing. And this is a lot of reason why a lot of guys feel like they don't have to respect women. It's why a lot of guys feel like they can come on specific panels and talk to women, and just off the fact that she is a woman, think that they can approach her in a certain way. I've had that experience on pretty much every panel that I've gone on where I wasn't really totally familiar. So that's a lot of first times, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's guys. It's guys. It's like, okay, we're gonna take up this thing. You're automatically against guys, right? And I remember a couple comments. I had done a couple of videos about Cynthia G. But it was just a response to some things that she was saying. She and another content creator named Black Atmosphere were saying about me.
Mhm.
And so when I was discussing it, and it was done on her channel, and they were saying a whole lot of stuff, but most of the stuff was considering just me being mixed versus anything that I had said, which really had nothing to do with them. And I hadn't done anything except for complain about the constant harping on whatever she was harping on that had nothing to do with what we were talking about at the time. Right. So when I began talking about the whole thing, it's like immediately there's this understanding of, well, let me not, I really don't want to even go down into that specific thing.
Mhm.
It's just that a lot of these women are broken, and a lot of them have previous issues. And so what they'll do is they'll jump on one thing, and that'll be what they create as their flag that they wave, which is their persona. It becomes their persona.
Yeah. And
Then,
I'm sorry.
mhm.
I'm sorry. Finish
I
up because I
know.
wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say because that's the thing, dude. Like the other side mirrors that. right? Because okay, what did you say? It was just like you come up on a panel, right? And automatically dudes are like, what? They're at odds with you?
Yeah, like this guy put comments in the video. I brought up the videos to mention that in my comment section there was this guy who started making comments saying, "You said something something I did not say," and this was literally a video against the persons I just mentioned, and he said I was blindly supporting said person. That's how blinded he was.
What, let me
So,
ask you a question though.
mhm,
Do you honestly think that that same person who did that, like,
mhm.
literally treats women like that in real life? Like, I'm saying he goes to the grocery store. Bitch, get out of the way. What the fuck are you doing? Do you think he really does things like when he goes to the grocery store, or some old lady's walking through, move, old lady, or does he hold the door open for her? What do you think?
It's not even either one of, well, he does probably hold the door open, but he's what
Yeah.
people would call a simp. Like, I don't like the term, but if I'm going to use it, it would be that person right there. So he's the one who will pander to people specifically to gain favor, right?
Yeah.
Having nothing to do with what he's communicating. So it's dishonest communication for the end result of getting something he wants, which is attention.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying. And
Right,
I can't stand those type of people.
right. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. So so when that type of situation happens and I'm like, what, this guy literally assumed because he saw the person's name there and I'm a woman, he immediately assumed that I must be supporting this person. Do you understand how, I mean, I don't know if the person has attenuated learning capacity, I don't know what's going on there, but that's scary. And then I wrote back to him. I was like, did you listen to what I was saying? I was like, he mentioned something about her degrees, and he thought I was saying that she's credible because she has a degree. First of all, it's not something I would ever say. And secondly, I did not say that. And thirdly, in her specific situation, it doesn't make any sense because a Bachelor of Arts in psychology, which I also have one, in forensic psychology to be specific, does not make you an expert in psychology. Okay, you start to become the expert level when you start to get master's and doctorate degrees.
Yeah.
In terms of on paper. So I would never say anything like that. So when he said that, I was like, yo, what is wrong with you? Like, I didn't even want to try to get to the point. I wanted to just point out that he was saying something stupid. And it's like having a conversation with a piece of clay. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I was gonna say, I've had better conversations with like frogs that I
Right.
found in my front yard, right? Because like there's been times where I've said something to them and I swear to God they actually responded to me.
Yeah. I had a whole 5-minute conversation with the duck. Much more satisfying, much more enlightening, and much more, just all around great than
You may have learned a little
99%
bit of duck in that
Listen.
exchange.
Man, I found out so
I learned
much.
some Froggo.
So they can miss me with that. And besides, why would somebody put down, like, imagine if a person has a daughter, which in the case of Cynthia G, actually she does, has a daughter and puts down women. Well, Cynthia G doesn't do that. That's not her talking point. I was talking about somebody else specifically, but she represents a lot of women though, on YouTube and in real life. So it's like, imagine if that person has a daughter. She's automatically saying about her daughter that this is true. And that she's not saying that if she redirects it, that's not going to happen. She's just saying this is her natural inclination as a female being. What type of a woman would ever say such a thing? A woman who hates herself. A woman who every time she looks in the mirror, she is challenged and upset by her womanhood. That's the type of woman who would say something like that.
Is that why there's so much like makeup and wiggage going on?
Yeah, but then a lot of the new wave of these hoes where now they hide it behind this all pseudo natural. So they're all natural. They eating skins. Okay.
Wait, you know what, dude? That was a whole oxymoron, pseudo natural.
Listen, that's what they're doing. They think because they got a couple twists that they can eat skins and drink orange soda, and that everything is all good. I can see your ugliness and your taint by the words that come out of your mouth. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So, Miss Real stepped away for just a second. I'm gonna wait for her to come back, and then we'll get back into the conversation. But in the meantime, if you're listening in, you haven't liked this live stream, please like it, hit the like button, mind you, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Just thought I'd throw those out there because you never know if you are listening, you haven't subscribed, and it'd be cool if you did. Um, and yeah, um, this conversation literally is kind of like an extension from the last live stream we did. You know, particularly when it with regards to our engagements in social media and stuff. And this is kind of why the whole persona thing came up, because you see a lot of, I don't know, I guess from my angle anyway, because the only thing I've ever tried to do is just be as honest as I can. I mean, honest as I can. I mean, as honest as I can, given what it is that I share about myself. Right? Everything is true and living with me. Right? So you know, I don't really see a persona type of thing that's here that's separate from who I am if you met me in the streets, for example, right? But I suspect that um, you know, people live dualistic lives, right? And they live them simultaneously. There's in the real world, and then there's online. And what they do is they kind of live through that digital avatar, and then try to like extrapolate it and bring it back into the real world to kind of confirm you know this whole sort of like fake persona that they've created for themselves. Right? They really do try to embody it. Like, you've had people that, let's say we were talking about the filters and stuff, and so they started coming up, when when they started using all of this stuff, and then women really did like how the filters contoured their faces and their bodies and all that. And then that's when they started coming up with all these surgeries to permanently mold women to the shape of these filters and stuff. And that's a pretty damn serious proposition to consider right there. Okay, there's some sort of technical or digital filter that, um and I'm throwing this in air quotes, enhances your look based on what, right? What's the criteria that determines enhancement? I think it's all in the mind. And so, yeah, people will
Yeah,
literally, yeah, you got it. Go ahead. You back?
because they look like trannies. Am I allowed to say trannies?
You said, you mean like transmissions?
Yes, they look like transmissions.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's no
Transmissions.
difference
Yes.
between the makeup that RuPaul wears now, and all these shows that I've never seen, like Drag Race, whatever they're called, and all this stuff. A lot of this stuff is shaping what people are considering beautiful. Like when a woman and a transmission look exactly the same, then I'm gonna question that. Like, this is why real guys say, oh, they will prefer lack of makeup, or I
Yeah.
should say no makeup, things like that, because then they can see the actual woman
Yes.
through the transmission veil.
Yeah. That's literally why I prefer it. Now, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not against makeup, right? Especially because makeup is to, what's the term? Accent? Is that accent? That's the word?
Accentuate or accent,
Accentuate.
sure.
Accent, accentuate. Okay, that's the word I was trying to get out. So I think, like, in the right settings and the right situations and all that kind of stuff, it's fine, right? But I think as someone who really kind of like gets their confidence from just caking it on and just literally having this face, quote unquote, on a day-to-day basis, that's a bit disturbing, because I think that people are, well, women particularly, right? They're I'm saying particularly, right, with transmissions as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would suspect they also act a little bit different when they take that shit off.
Well, they're like, yo, what's up?
Yeah,
Versus
they kind of like it. Literally, the whole persona goes away, and it's just like, "What up,
that,
dog?"
and that's the thing. The persona lays in the gender bending. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, "What up, dog?"
Right. Yo, what you got going on?
What was
But
cracking?
yeah, the persona. Yo, what you got on this 40s?
Like, didn't you just have a dress on?
Sorry. But you know, the level of wait, no, so let's not even go down that place. Okay. Let's not. Or pretend we did. But let's go back to this this pandering. This persona, the personas that people wear in order to pander. So I discussed the dangerous woman archetype that chewing
I'm on over there, man.
that essentially go out of their way to run over other women to make themselves the only one on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what a lot of guys mean when they call other guys simp, right? They're not explaining it very well when they use this term because that term just means so many different things. But what's your opinion, or maybe, I don't know, have you seen this like on social media? What's your opinion about guys who do the equivalent to what I was saying about these dangerous women?
Okay, so what would be okay, give me like an example, like specific, what would be the equivalent of like what a guy would do?
Okay, so you know how when like guys automatically try to stick up for BGS because they want his favor?
Yeah.
So if a guy did that for a woman.
Okay, my first thought is it depends on what he's saying, but usually there's very little objectivity, right? We're not, I'm very slow to make a comment about something unless I'm very sure, right? But like if a dude makes a comment, let's just say there's some sort of video or something, right? And then the dude makes a comment, I don't know why y'all worried about this. Okay, then yeah, I'm just gonna be like, oh god, dude, like you
Right.
you're not really an objective thinker, dude. Like you just kind of run with that whole point. Yeah.
Stop right there real quick. Does it bother you when you see that?
Yeah, it does, because here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I see that kind of stuff, I kind of look at those types of dudes and I go like, okay, there's only been so much I could do with that type of guy. And what I mean by that is like working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I don't
Meaning
think that
communicate at all. Also.
Say that again.
Meaning also communicate at all with them.
Yeah. Because they're just by the by the tone of that type of comment, it really does sound as if this is a person that really kind of moves based on feeling, and not based on like observation and analysis. Right, to kind of observe what's going on, then make like a sound decision on something. Like it's just really, yeah.
If I was to ask you, even though I understand exactly what you just said, if I was to ask you about the category that falls under, like why that bothers you, is it a dangerous behavior? Is it a pathetic behavior? Something like that. Where would you file it under?
It's a compromising behavior. Like I said, I couldn't really put trust in a person like that. And I mean like from an organizational standpoint, to make sound decisions. Right. So it could be even potentially be dangerous, right? Depending on the setting. Like think for example, like if you guys got to do something, where there's a level of danger or an element of danger involved in a task, right? And at the first sign of danger, this dude's just gonna like bolt and run instead of like do the quick thinking type of thing, right? You don't really want to put that person in a position to make decisions.
Also, the integrity being absent there, right? So they're going to make poor decisions just solely based on that, which is a problem and dangerous, right?
Right. Yeah.
Exactly the issue with the women, right?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like this stuff mirrors, right? I think it just looks. I mean, it's going to look different, outside of the transmissions, men and women look different, right? Oh God, I don't know why I said that shit.
They still look different even with the transmissions. Like, ain't no way on earth those don't look like dudes, in my opinion. I can point them out in the lineup.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Is if it just has the appearance, I look the other way. I don't try to figure it out.
Right, that's true. That's a good
I
rule
don't
of
even I
thumb.
don't even try to figure it out. I'm gonna just say, you know what? If I were to flip a quarter, right, right.
The fact that I even have to ask myself about flipping a quarter,
That's,
I'm out.
that's
Like,
what I
I'm
mean.
done.
It's like if I'm here with it, you may as well just turn around and go the other way, right?
Yeah. But you
So
got some
yeah,
transmissions running around here acting like they're women.
you
And like
said what?
they out of nowhere will just send random pictures to people. And it's like, yo, I'm looking at a picture of a transmission. Why did he send this to me? And you don't know what to do with it. And you're sitting there now, you have a conundrum. You're just minding your business on a Sunday, and then now you have a picture and have a problem and a dilemma
I,
because you've been
listen,
talking to a transmission this whole time, thinking it's just one of the girls. It's like, what? That feels really
that is,
uncomfortable.
dude, that happens.
That happens. Well, it happened.
Okay, it happened.
Brandy Woman knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, Ready Woman knows that it happened. That
You
is
know what
what.
I'm talking about.
Yo, you know what? All right, hold on one second.
Yeah. While you do
because
that, let me
because
grab something real quick.
go ahead.
I can hear you, but I can't talk right now. I can hear
No,
you though. Go ahead.
you're good. You're good. Go ahead. Because like, man, I'm just imagining like I'm just, oh God, you know what? I don't want to imagine. I started to have, see, you guys, I have a vivid imagination. So when I imagine shit, like I get details and then I got to get the fuck out of there because I don't want all the details. So yeah, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. Damn.
Man,
Okay.
listen, there's no rabbit hole. It's just a whole field of nonsense. You don't have to dig.
Okay.
It's just
Well,
there.
I'm going to tell you right now, it was about to be a rabbit hole if I would have kept talking. I
Fair
was
enough.
just like, yeah, I was going to say something. And I was just like, you know what? I don't even want that shit to come out of my mouth. I don't even want those thoughts in my head. Yeah.
Man, listen. And it'd be under the weirdest context. Like all of a sudden you're just chilling on Sunday, and then, like I said, and then the person will be like, hey, let's talk about wigs, knowing darn well I don't wear wigs. And then all of a sudden you just get pictures, and now you have to question life as you know it. This is the
What
stuff that
the
happens to women. This is why in a court of law, there is, I forget what it's called, but it's basically a legal excuse for a person to kill someone because they have they're stricken with temporary insanity because someone presented themselves either as a woman and they were a man, or presented themselves as something that, well, yeah, that's really it. Presented
Can I,
themselves as a woman and they were a man. That's really it. It doesn't
okay,
get that much more complicated.
so a person can say I was temporarily insane.
Well, their attorney would argue that for them, that yeah, they
Well,
were.
so the attorney, okay, because I was gonna say like, how does one literally just like, dude, it was just literally for like 24 hours. I was just bad
Because,
shit.
like, what about the situation with the guy? There was this guy, I forget his name. He was a young man. He was I think straight out of high school to pro football, and he had some liaison with a guy from Tinder, I think, and he met up with the dude. He thought it was a woman, and when the person opened
Oh,
the door, they had the lights off. It was like this whole pseudo mysterious thing, right? But really, it was
oh
just to
no.
hide the fact that it was a whole dude, and they engaged in sexual activity. And then he heard later on, out through the grapevine, that person was a dude. So he then cased the person's place and saw the person come out. Now, how he associated that with the person he slept with, I'm not too sure about those details, but he surmised that person who he slept with as a woman was that dude who walked downstairs, and something happened. He made some sort of an arrangement to meet up with the person. They met up, and he killed him. He beat him to death, and he got off.
What?
And I mean, I'm not arguing that he shouldn't have.
No, 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 no. What I'm trying to figure out here is what. Remember. Okay, so early on in the live stream, we were talking about having an internal dialogue.
Yeah,
Okay, like how do you okay, you're not having an internal dialogue when you somehow find yourself doing shit like that. It's just
clearly.
like how did you find yourself in this situation, right?
Man,
and
these
and
people
and, and mind you, like I huh.
they're so thirsty. They're thirsty for sex. They're thirsty for companionship. They're thirsty for time. They're thirsty for love. They're thirsty for hugs, nourishment, warmth, a blanket to be under somebody, to be under with somebody. Like, it's just, it's
To
that.
the point, but to the point where you're doing things and you kind of okay, you're doing things to the point where you're not even sure if the person that you doing things with is the same sex as you.
So let me ask you this. Are you getting to the point that you think that he thought it was a guy and just didn't deal with it well?
I I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, yeah, okay. In short, yeah.
Hmm.
But to kind of elaborate on that, like I said, you know what it's like. Okay, it's like you watch like volcano. I always have to do this shit. You see like a volcano. You're watching, these volcanoes erupting in Hawaii. They're just spitting lava out, right? And you see the lava, and you walk towards it, and it's getting hotter as you walk towards it, and you ultimately find yourself walking into the damn lava. Then you're just like, holy fucking shit, right? And I'm kind of like, well, so dude, how did you get to the point where you're in
You
the lava
actually
now?
ran through the lava and swam in it, and
Like,
like
how
you're the
did you
person.
get all the way into the lava only to be like, shit, I'm in lava?
So in other words, you're saying at the time when the person was like, "Hey, only anal," and yes, let's keep it dark. Why didn't he say to himself, "Something ain't right about this," and
In
bounce?
so many words, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back to the possibility that maybe he knew it was a dude and
and,
just,
and
didn't
this
have a
is so
really good time with
and
that
that's where
later.
I'm yeah, and this is where it's just sort of like, dude, okay.
No, I feel
Rabbit
you.
hole, we just went down it. You know what? No, and don't take any pun from that either. That don't take any. Okay. Anyway, um, so yeah, yeah. This is what I mean, though. It's sort of like people, they exist in one space, and then they have like their real selves,
Right, 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 right.
right? Because like from what you're saying, his real self had an issue of what that other aspect of him engaged in.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily saying that's what happened, but I think it's a definite possibility.
I mean,
So
dude, I'm
yeah,
gonna, it just
you're
as a
saying that's what happened. Yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
as a guy, like if I'm just to kind of like put it together in my head, I'm just
It makes the most
bro,
sense. Honestly, it does.
yeah. Hey,
It
look,
does.
I'm gonna refill this teacup. It'll just take me like 2 minutes,
Take your
and
time.
then I'm gonna just use the restroom, and I will be right back.
I'm about
Just
to
hold down
get
for a few
get
minutes.
open on here, and I'm just kidding.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I'll
I'm
go
just
back. I'll listen to the playback and see what you said. No, no, go ahead. You're good. I'll be right
I was
back.
just okay. So yeah, I mean I don't know that I've heard some people say that there's a snobbish sort of aspect taken on perspectives. And if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But it's okay to look down on things. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really make a person a snob or from a snobbish perspective. It just kind of puts someone maybe an elitist perspective, which I think is okay. I think and going back to what we were discussing last time about delusions of grandeur, and we were very clear, both of us, on the fact that it's very much okay to feel great about yourself, right? So in this case, there's nothing wrong with people just running wild with who they are. I think the problem is when it's not honest, right? So if somebody is genuinely whoever it is that they're presenting, I think few people have a problem with that, right? Even if they don't like the person, they don't have the same intrinsic problem with the person as if it's a fake persona, right? And with YouTube, that's really nine times out of 10 all we're bumping into, right? And that is something to look down on, especially when you've been here since 2018, which is not a long time, but I've been here since 2018, and I've seen a lot of different opinion trends occur. And one that I thought was very interesting is this idea of, there was a time point where everyone was saying, "Oh, that's disingenuous. That's disingenuous." And I was like, "Oh, stop saying that. Like, you guys don't know another word, like dishonest? Like, you're lying." And so why were people harping on that? Was it because they really had an issue with being disingenuous? I doubt it. I think it was more because there was just too much of it. I think It was more so that that was the shame du jour. And so therein, for me, lays the problem. Because it's based on a fake premise, but it's being used to shame. And shame is something that people in public will generally act like they've never experienced. Let me say it this way. Shame is something that people like to place on people in group settings and act as if they haven't experienced the core of whatever it is that person's going through. There's an inherent problem with that, because every person has gone through, will go through, by the time they're an adult definitely have gone through. Every person has gone through whatever that person that they're shunning or shaming is going through at the moment, even if it's not with the same situation. Definitely, most of the time it won't be the same situation, right? So when people are, for example, let's take YouTube for an example. When people are decidedly going against someone, and let's say they dox them, and they find out in their record that they have a bankruptcy. I've seen a lot of broke people shame bankruptcies. I've never declared bankruptcy, but I've also not shamed people who declared it. But I will shame you if you laugh at people and calling them broke, and then coming up on YouTube acting like your PPP loan or whatever COVID relief funds you got wasn't just that, and acting like you balling out of control because you got over $10,000 in your bank account for the first time in your life at the age of 50. I'm not talking about that. So when it comes to like this idea of flossing and presenting, right? Yeah, there is a problem with that. And, you know, when it's to shame someone and act like they're not going through it, in the case of what I'm talking about, the broke person acting like they don't know what broke is, okay? Or acting like, you know, unless we've all grown up rich, and even people who have grown up rich still understand what broke is. So you can miss me with this, I don't know what broke is. You're up here wearing fake Tiffany all day. Clearly, I'm talking about somebody specifically, right? But you're shaming other people for being broke. A person who lived in their son's trap house was shaming other people for being broke. So these are the type of things I'm talking about. Yes, I think it is very good to keep in place an issue with this type of thing. It's very good to feel like you're above that. It's very good to feel like you have some sort of judgment on that. And you should run with that. Because if you don't, you are then not only of the like mind of that, but you're now, I guess, dumbing yourself down for the YouTube, like for the gram or whatever. it doesn't make any sense. It does when you want to be cool, when you want the acceptance of whoever you consider your cohort to be. But when in any other paradigm, it does not make sense. And, you know, specifically with regard to what I was saying before, I think it's embarrassing for you women, for you single women, telling women why they're single and pandering in the way that you are, disrespecting yourself and every other woman behind and before and after you because you want some dick.
Jesus.
Is it okay to just say that that is what is going on there? We all know that many of us have used YouTube as a dating site. I did myself too. There's no shame in that. So you're already
wait. Does it double as that? It doubles as that, really?
Listen.
What?
Let's hold that to the side for a second. We don't need to deep dive into that. Of course.
I'm just asking, like, what?
Yeah, it's a social network. So people are socializing. They're getting off on socializing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But what's not fine is people acting like that's not what they're up here doing. And then when they've accomplished that, maybe they still have some purpose up here, like myself, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, YouTube sounds like a good idea to have discussions. And also I could meet some other people. That sounds dope as fuck. You know, I moved from big ass New York City to the fucking sticks. Yeah, I like the idea of opening up where I can meet people. That's fine. And, you know, it doesn't mean people have trouble meeting people in real life. It means that it broadens that. And all this, you know, oh, people have trouble meeting people in real life. Y'all can miss me with that bullshit as well. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because y'all up here is the same exact frequency, if not more. You know? So there's that idea of what I'm getting to is that shaming other people, acting like they haven't experienced what those people have experienced. And usually when you see people OD shaming someone on somebody, somebody on something, that's their Achilles heel. Because why are you doing all that? Because you want dick.
I've never put it together like that. But then again, I'm not a woman. I haven't been around in the woman spaces like that. And but that just kind of opened my mind up to some things now that I've observed. Right?
So
Because sometimes you wonder what the motive is.
okay.
Right? You wonder, listen, like me doing this whole thing, right, with this whole sapio stuff, right? Like this is so one, let's start with this, right? So Mike V was the one who started doing these live streams, right? Now, I had an idea to run with it, right? And this is stuff that me and Mike had chopped it up about like some years ago, right? But in terms of like how I thought to kind of maybe do this kind of stuff, it has more to do with how do I talk about like my experiences from my relationship, but without necessarily talking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just sort of like, well, maybe we talk about the virtues of what makes someone like mentally attracted to someone else, right? Because like from my experience, that's our attraction was like real strong there, and then it permeated everywhere else, right? And it seemed like that was sort of like the natural way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know at least from our end, we just kind of put it out here in this way, and maybe it'll hit a little bit different, so to speak. you know
Yeah.
but all that other shit though, yeah, it was just sort of like, all right, well, that's never been, I mean, we've all kind of been through, gone through the rigmarole of like, a shitty relationship or something like that, or have something shitty happen to you. But I don't think that then becomes like the marker of your like life's experiences and shit, like where you just kind of get imprinted with that and then you move forward
Right.
from there.
Hopefully
You,
not.
yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, or at least I hope not.
Right. You know, and so and it's like, I've been attacked in certain situations where it's like, and it falls, it's perfect timing. So Rating Woman says it's been so much cock blocking and womb guarding. Womb guarding. I like
Womb
that.
guarding. Wow.
On YouTube, all under the guise of sisterhood, protecting women and dislike of men, only for those women to be all up in the DMs. Exactly. That right there really sums up what I'm saying there. So it's like
Oh,
the whole time you just wanted to go and follow after some guy that you've been in a relationship with all day, or he just can't wait to get on a panel with another woman that he finds more interesting than you. But somehow you still think it's okay to downplay other women and ball them up into the coagulated, disgusting ball that these disgusting non-sex having men have turned them into, and you're okay with that. But you're a natural sister, right? You're down with the program, right? You're all about the sisterhood. Man, get the fuck out of here. You're the most dangerous type of woman, and this is why other women don't like you. Okay, this is why you're the type of woman who says, I don't really get along with other women, because women are so catty and all this other extra shit. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that's always, well, at least from a guy's role, at least from this guy right here, this guy's perspective. The chick has got like a whole bunch of dude homies. It's just like, whoop, hit the brakes.
Well, I mean, let me say something in protection of that, actually. So growing up with my twin uncles, it's very normal to me to have guys as like a foundation and backbone of my social thing, right?
Mhm.
It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel comfortable. It's very normal to me. I feel like, and I get along with lots of women. I've never been the woman who says I don't get along with other women, although I do recognize what happens, between women. But in terms
No,
of
I'm
like,
talking about what you just said right there, right? Because most times, what you'll hear is that when yeah, most of my friends are guys, and then you'll also hear, well, yeah, I don't get along with women. It's just like, okay, whoa.
yeah, that's strange. Like if guys say, "Yo, I don't get along with other guys," I'd be like, "What?"
That
Have
would
you ever
be
heard that?
hella strange, yo. Like,
Like I see my
what,
uncles
what would
literally
you
fight.
like? You'd be like, excuse me?
Yo, I've seen my uncles come to fisticuffs over the bathroom, and yet and still, like an hour later, we're all watching TV together. Like, there's no way I could ever feel comfortable if a guy said that.
Man,
But
what were y'all watching? What were y'all watching to like bring fisticuffs to like a stop where y'all just sit down and watch some shit?
probably a Naughty by Nature video or a George Michael video or something.
Naughty by Nature or George Michael?
Yeah.
That's hella random.
Well, that's my family life, okay? So,
Hey, you know what? I do. I fuck with both, so it don't matter.
right. So, did you ever see that? It reminds me of that Key and Peele skit where the dude, they were like mad gangster. He was like training them to be like gangsters, and he was like, "Yo, y'all got to be on to George Michael, though." He starts playing it. Did you see that?
Oh my god! Wait, I think I vaguely remember that one.
It's hilarious.
The
those are
ones that stand out for me, Key and Peele, is the steampunk.
Did I see that? I don't know if I saw that.
Yeah, where Peele, like he goes full steampunk. And he's just like, and then like he's just like, yo, man, what's wrong with you, dude? And he's got like the top hat with
the monocle.
Yeah, all that shit. It's funny as hell. And then there's another one where they had a hat battle. You know how cats like.
Oh yeah, I just saw that one not too long ago.
Dude, the hat battle fucking had me dead. That shit had me dead.
Yo, those dudes right there, they sum it all up for me. Like, that's the perfect balance right there. I love it. But yeah, so I even forgot now. I just want to talk about Key and Peele. But yeah, like, so all that stuff. Not Zone saying the echo is back. Hold on.
Is it? Okay, shit.
Let me see what I can do about this.
T Riddler,
not T Riddler saying, are people
he said, are people really linking up? Hey, bro.
Acting like you've been under a rock for
I'm
like
getting put up on game right now, bro. Hey.
Please, both y'all, stop acting like y'all don't know about this. Hold on.
Hey, you know me. I be over my little brain trust, area, and then other than that, man, I just be, watching my little racing and listening to my music. That's all I do.
Oh, speaking of which, I saw something on one of those manosphere panels, and I want to tell you about it in a second. But I want to see if I can fix the echo.
Okay. Yeah. So T Riddler, apparently, bro. News to me. We learn something new every day, right? Or at least we should be learning something new every day. At least something that enriches our lives, or some shit. I don't know.
Is that better?
Yeah. I don't hear it. I don't. Wait, actually, no, I hear echo.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Spawn, you said people be linking up paying for days of tricking. Now, see, Spawn. Like, here's the thing, man. This is kind of, we were talking about this stuff earlier, dude. Like, how there's sort of like this mash of like social media and content influence. And all this kind of shit, right? It's sort of like you hear it as content, or at least I hear it as content. But then I'm like, I go outside, and then I'm like, okay, how much of what it is that I observe outside? Now, mind you, dude, I live in the sticks in California, right? So there's really not much of what I see outside that reflects a lot of what's said. And so this is kind of where like a lot of maybe objectivity is in order, because it's like, well, how much of this do I really take seriously when I go outside and I'm taking my kid to school, I'm talking to parents, I'm talking to teachers, I go to the grocery store, I talk to the local people around there. A lot of people know me as the scooter guy around here. And I don't know, man, like my real world existence has a whole different vibe to it, right? And so I try to mirror that when I'm here. So we'll be talking about scooters or whatever the hell, right? And it's usually going to be shit that's centric to like the shit that you would encounter within me if you met me in real life. So I don't know, man. It's just because a lot of the content I hear, man, it just seems like I don't know. It's just for the algorithm, and it's like embellishing, and it's just people doing it for super chats and cash apps and just saying shit. I mean, whether they really doing it, man, I can't really verify unless they just be like, "Hell yeah, I'm tricking, nigga." You know?
Is the echo gone?
Wait, now you sound low, dude.
Yeah, because I turned down a whole lot of shit because I didn't know what was going on. Hold on. But is the echo gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, so then that helps me understand something.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah,
one.
it's gone. No, actually,
Okay,
you sound good, and it's gone.
I sound good. Okay, let's keep
Hmm.
it like that.
Okay. Rainy Woman said, "Get off the gas, complex." Never.
Never, right?
Yeah, I'm always gonna smoke. Sister George and her man were the first popular couples in this
I don't
sector.
even know who her man is. I barely know who she is, but I
I
definitely don't know who her
mean,
man is.
I mean, okay. Well, I didn't. I just thought they were together on here. I didn't know they met on here. Well, Rainy Woman, like you, okay, you got all the tea. I got a little bit right here. I got some ginger and turmeric, but you've got all the tea. Mm-hmm. Yep. Man, this stuff
So
tastes good. I'm about to go re up here in a minute. Jeez.
I don't know what it is about turmeric when it comes to just by itself. Like I can't do it. Like I love curry and all that stuff, but
Uh,
I
uh,
have to take that in capsules. I cannot drink the tea.
no, you got to drink it with ginger. Then you don't taste the turmeric.
No, I've had that tea several times. It's all right, but
Well,
I
I have
don't
literally I have one
know.
turmeric bag, one ginger bag, and then I do a heaping spoon of manuka honey boop, in there. And I'm saying between the honey and the ginger, yeah, you don't really taste the turmeric. You feel it though.
Yeah. You feel it.
Yeah, you feel it definitely. So,
But,
okay, you I did not. They are a YouTube celebrity couple, really, of the black sector. Yeah, okay. Uh, all right. Here's the thing. I know they got married. I just didn't know that they met on YouTube. I did not know that. That's news. But all right. Real, you there?
yeah, I'm just grabbing something,
Oh, you
but I'm
stepping
here.
slow. Okay, that's fine. I mean, so yeah. I don't know how far we strayed away from the main topic. I mean, everything is all centric to it. Okay.
Agreed.
But yeah. But where are we? Where are we kind of in this in terms of personages, and well, I think what you were saying is that people will kind of say certain things, but then knowing damn well they're linking up and they're hooking up.
Or also just that they are shaming people for things that they either want to do and have been unsuccessful at, which is
Hmm.
the hooking up part as well. Like I've had a lot of women shame me for guys liking me on YouTube and me entertaining them for 5 minutes or something, like because the whole time they've been trying to get guys on YouTube and it wasn't working out, things like that. Right. So like but the
Jeez.
shame part is what I'm really concentrating on, like shaming people as if they don't understand the core of that shame, which they obviously do, which is why they feel like that's something to shame them for, A, and B, all this corralling around, ha ha ha, look at the naked person as if they've never been naked. They can miss me with that too. You know? That's
I,
true, Rainy Woman. I mean, I met Tone here. Lots of people met people here because there are a lot of people here that are actually people in actual life, and then people can say, "Hey, I think you're pretty cool,"
so
and same way they
okay.
do in real life. Like,
So okay, but see, all right, but then okay, but then okay, I can see that, right? Because people are getting a true sense of the other person through this medium, right? And that's not a bad thing.
even in a really pure sense, when they're just sitting there listening to you, talk about something that you feel passionate about, you're not
Right,
talking to them. Yeah,
right. So I mean, but see, that's how pervasive social media and like digital platforms are. It's very there's so much. I swear to God, that gray area is so like light gray. It's in a, you know what I mean? There's so much of there's so much of a gray area where people can kind of get things twisted. I mean, like I said, as for as honest, in terms of my intentions being here and stuff, I've had people kind of take what I do in such a way where they've said like some very foul shit to me, and I was just like, damn, dude, like what the fuck,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So yeah, it's hmm.
So, have you ever had a situation where a guy has attacked you because he was trying to get the favor of a woman?
On YouTube specifically.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
What a
I
problem with my cat's meowing in the background.
It's okay. It's a cat. I
Somebody
don't
was
care.
commenting on that.
Kitty,
Right,
kitty.
like it's true.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm
I
so
don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't
okay.
think so. You
Because
know,
that happens with women. Oh, it was Zone. Okay, was it you, Zone? I thought it
that's
was the other
but he has
guy.
a
Now.
damn cat as a little
Oh
avatar.
right. Surely enough.
Yeah.
Completely. So he gets it. It was the other guy though who was saying me. Well, I thought it was the other guy.
No, it was Zone. Yeah, that was him. He heard the cat.
Okay. My fault. Hi, Afro SF.
What's going on, bro?
But that happens with women a lot on YouTube, where women will attack other women because they're trying to get the favor of a guy.
Mm.
And I saw this happen recently. A woman who is now she has a lot of mess on YouTube, but she's right now in the midst of arguing with somebody who's married, arguing with a guy who's married to a woman who's also on YouTube. And yes, and the situation, like she's been in several situations where she's, been sliding up in DMs and all kinds of stuff, right? But this situation is a little bit different because she and the guy did not have a romantic situation, but I think she was sweet on him and felt rejected and then decided to lash out, which is a really big thing on social
Well, she felt
media.
rejected by a guy who's married.
Yes. Now here's the thing. Even
What
if he
is
wasn't
this?
married, he probably would have rejected her. But the problem here, though, is women and their handling of rejection, and they're not doing it very well. And they're on some shit where it's like they're going to lash out because they can, because they don't feel comfortable with the rejection, which is
Okay,
another big, which is really ugly.
but you're being rejected by a married man though.
Let's take away what are your thoughts on say he's not married, because this is another situation with another woman that I'm thinking about. Let's
Okay,
say he's
that's
not
different.
married, but just because she's rejected, she decides to lash out at him on YouTube when the issue is not on YouTube.
Okay, I don't think. All right, I think that. Okay. I, I'm trying to like transpose my my mind into like okay how I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to say this. I would think that a woman would say, "Listen, you're being crazy. He's married. Of course he's going to reject you." Right? That's what I'm thinking.
And then she would say back, well, yeah, but he was interested because he wrote me back in a comment section, because this is how delusional bitches think.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, just because somebody wrote something in a comment, that's not what we're supposed to take that as, right?
Exactly. That's not encouragement that I want to go
Yeah,
home. Exactly.
and
Right.
that's kind of where I'm just sort of like, where's that internal dialogue? Where's just like, hello, dummy, hey, he's a married man, right?
But then they feel like, oh, he's not happy. Like a lot of other people aren't happy, and I took him from her, and now I feel prettier because he was something. He had an agreement, and he broke it because of me. All this stuff.
I mean, okay, if that's some sort of, I don't know, accomplishment, life goal, right? Something that we're trying to accomplish in life, I guess that we can, sort of hang our hat on and say, yeah, I did that. Okay, I suppose. But let's go with the other scenario. You said not married. Okay. Well, if he's not married, then technically it's I guess everything's on the table, right? And so if everything is on the table, but he decides to like get up from the table and dip, yeah, I guess then yeah, then I guess there is some, well, I don't want to say justification. I'll just say that I can understand why a chick would feel the sting of rejection. I can understand in that scenario. But when a dude's married, it's like, why the fuck do you feel rejected? He's married, you dummy. Uh-oh. Really there?
There's an abuse of subtlety, like the response in a comment section, instead of it just being a response, then oh no, he's subtly trying to tell me he likes me. These types of things. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how a lot of women are thinking. So if this meta conversation is going on, and then you think about the self-deprecating or the women deprecating behavior and conversation that some of these people put in to play with their personas on YouTube, then I mean, ...
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, huh. Look. Okay, this is also a lot of the largely the reason why that if conversations, or at least if I'm gonna be involved in a conversation or have one with regards to say like interpersonal dynamics, relationships, whatever words we want to give it, right? It literally has to be from this angle, right? It has to be from this angle here, because like for the life of me, I can't I don't understand like the irrationality of what it is that a lot of people require, right? In terms of like, and then it's expressed all over on social media, these podcasts and panels and whatever, right? You listen to these people talk, and it's just like, it's okay for a man to cheat, but a woman better not cheat. And I'm like, okay, one of the first laws of relationships is reciprocity, right? So, yeah, maybe neither one of you should be doing it. Okay. And it's like simple shit like that. Like anytime I hear people get into these dialogues about, because like think about the word cheating. It's an act of dishonesty for one's own gain. So it's sort of like, yeah, well, it's okay if I'm dishonest with you for my own gain, but you better not do it. It's like, what kind of fucking relationship are you like Jesus Christ. You know. So I tend to just not engage in any of that sort of like, to me, in my view, lower or low level dialogue, because it just kind of fundamentally doesn't make sense. And when I had stepped away a little while ago, I heard you make mention of the fact that it's not necessarily a bad thing to look down, or to like to be of the elite, or to be elitist in some sense. And it's not. The shit exists for a reason, right? Just happily accept your place in it. If this is where you find yourself, that means
Exactly.
you're equipped with the tools to represent and reflect what it means to have an elite mindset.
Exactly.
That's not a bad thing,
Ever.
right? And so that should also, once again, be reflective in everything you do, like whether it's just your relationships, or how you engage and present yourself in social media spaces, you know.
Yeah.
So
Can you hear
yeah,
me?
it's a little low.
Yeah, it's because I was a little bit far away. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that probably spills over into the next thing, which is like connections and I guess networking or social networking or just personal networking, right? But I think the persona thing is very very much something that someone should reject personally, right? So then when it comes to social media, when it spills over into other people, then yeah, it should be rejected tenfold. Like you should try to be keeping it real. Like when keeping it real goes wrong, you should be
right?
Like just for the sake of the situation, because it is so, I guess the potentiality for falsehood is so high, that you have to really go out of your way to keep it authentic, which is good, which is I think where the elitism will come from, because it's like I'm expending all this energy to keep authenticity because it's so difficult here, not for myself, in terms of how I want to handle things. Like there are times like I was solely against doxing, very much so, and I ended up doxing people, but only because someone doxed me, and it was like a year later. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you know what, fuck it. And so but I stood against that though. You know what I'm saying? So I did something that I stood against, and things like that make you look at it like, so because to me at that point I'm wearing a persona. Even though I very much stood behind what I was doing and I had every clarity on reasoning why I was doing it, it still was not really me. Like to me, that was a very cheap way to get at somebody. But I felt like this is what hurts this person so badly. So then let's get it. You know what I mean? Like that was my point, which is kind of immature, but that is just honestly where I was coming from. But once you lend any part of yourself to anything, it's got to be authentic. And I think that's in anything. Like even if it's the artwork you're putting up for your logo for your new business, like it should have something of you in it. And if you don't know what that is, then God help you go figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I'm for real. I agree with that shit wholeheartedly,
Yeah,
man.
we're
Like
all adults here at this point. Like we've been around the block, so it's like but this speaks to also people who haven't. If you're just making your way halfway around the block, like this should speak to that crowd louder, because, or more loudly, because there's no way to find yourself than to find yourself. There is just no other thing. It's like, why are we here? Because we are.
why?
So it doesn't get more complicated than that. That's
What
about
is
as complicated as it can get. You know what I mean?
what the hell is finding yourself? I remember there was this wherever you go is where you are,
Yeah.
right?
But
Like wherever you're at is where wherever you're at is where you are. I forgot what the saying is.
wherever you are, that's where you are, or something like that.
Yeah,
Wherever
it's
you're
one
at,
of those
that's where you are.
things. So
Yeah.
here's what I'm trying to figure out. So what is finding oneself? What is that?
So hold on 1 second. I'll be right there.
Okay, all right. So while she comes back, maybe what I'll do is, because I'm curious about that, right? Like, you know, you hear this all the time. I think women folks say it quite a bit. Got to find myself. Got to find myself. It's like, well, where did you? So, sounds like a stupid question, right? You guys tell me if this is a stupid question, right? So, if somebody says, "Yeah, I'm just trying to find myself," and then what if I said, "Well, where did you last leave yourself?" Is that like a dumb question? Is it smarmy, or is that a legit question? Because in order to say I got to find myself, it would imply that you lost yourself at one point. Where did you lose yourself at? Was it like junior high school, maybe, or what happened? Because people do this whole thing of
Sorry.
okay. Now, I was just kind of like pondering this whole sort of like find myself statement, right?
No,
And
it's the best question in the world. It's like
well,
literally the best question in the world.
it's the best question.
It is the best question in the world. Oh, look, see, Spawn says it's a legit question. It's not just legit, it's the best question
Really?
ever. What is finding
What I
yourself?
was because what I was saying is that okay, if you ask like like okay, I was saying like okay, where did you lose yourself at?
Right.
Right? Okay, because I'm trying to I'm fine. I gotta find myself. So find okay. I can't. In order for me to find some shit, I had to have it and lost it.
Which is exactly what happened. So let me
Okay,
interject it.
good.
It's completely beautiful. So thank you for asking that. It's the heart of everything, really. Definitely the heart of what we're talking about. So when we're born and when we take our first breath, I feel that we kind of widen the soup, potentiality soup of being able to lose ourselves.
Hmm.
We live in this world, but we come from something grander, bigger, broader, more vast than just this world, right? Clearly. And there's something very systematic about the way everything works. There's something that's very programmy, very perfect, very designy to things, aka God like to life. And I think once our minds have to conceptualize this, which is once we take our first breath, right? What's that sound? What's that noise? What's this temperature? All of those things, the sensory stuff. Then we have to marry that with who we are. And at that point, that's when we've kind of lost ourselves because it's a given. Ourselves are a given. We come into this world as ourselves, right? But the mental conception of that is getting to know yourself, getting to
Mm.
understand what is. That's getting to know yourself. And that does imply that one lost themselves. And I covered that with coming into this world from the
Mm.
primordial soup or whatever's going on before we come into this world. And we're upset when we do it. Like we come into the world and some of us are quiet. Some of us, like myself, come in crying. You don't have to figure out if we're alive or not. We're very much complaining about something. What are we crying about? What are babies crying about when they come into the world? What are they quiet about? You know, they're to me it's the same thing. Like what's going on? Like they're trying to figure out what's happening now. Something changed, right? I'm no longer breathing through the same means. I'm no longer existing through the same means. This immediately creates a separation, right? And depending on how that situation happens and all the stuff that happens every moment after that, this is when people are losing or finding themselves. But then when you conceptualize it later, like around the ages where you start to get older, like around 13, 14, where you start to process the stuff that you've been coming to terms with at the ages of like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, right?
Hmm.
All that comes together, and this is you creating the mental conception of understanding of the collage that is yourself. This is you understanding, aka getting to find your. I didn't use the word find. If I use the word find, that was a mistake. Getting to know is usually the word I would have used, the preferable word there. I think that was the word I did use, but getting to know oneself, the already existing thing that you are now understanding. This is getting to know yourself.
Okay. Well, I was okay. You say no, and you know, I don't know if maybe if I heard find or what have you, right? But I just know that I've heard that term so much,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, for
And
sure.
it's said so much.
Yeah,
You know, I gotta find myself, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck does that mean? You know, I think for me, um, I've always kind of had this. I don't know. You know, like my mom and my grandmother, they used to call me an old man when I was a
mm-hmm,
kid, when I was a baby. You know, when I
mm-hmm,
was little, they used to call me an
mm-hmm,
old man because I had this sort of, you know, I don't. It's not a frown. I don't have like a frown on my face.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Everybody says I have a frown on my
Me
face. They'd be
too, me
like,
too.
yeah, they'd be like, what's wrong with you? And they're like, what?
No, I'm just chilling, right? What do you
Like
mean,
nothing.
right?
Like what are you talking about? You got this frown on your face. I'm like, well, I'm thinking or
Right, I'm just
something. You know,
existing,
yeah, I'm
right?
thinking or some shit. uh you know, so I think I'm not even gonna lie, I think my find myself moment was when I did acid the first time. That was some shit where I literally didn't know what the fuck was going on, right? And I really had to kind of like recollect and just like what the hell was that, right?
Yeah.
Everything else I seem to have a good grasp of for the most part. It wasn't until you know, my first experience with psychedelics, and then that's when it was just like, oh shit, everything is has changed from this point forward, right? I
Right.
cannot unlive that, right? Right. And so I think that was when I had to kind of like get my, what are they like, get your marbles, get your marbles back or something. What are they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they say get your marbles in order or whatever that term is. I had to do that, you know, and that was I was 16, and I had to do that without my mom thinking that there was something wrong with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that always stands out to me because I can distinctly remember um, not thinking the same way after. I've
Right.
never I've
Right.
never thought the same way. How thoughts process in my mind and stuff has been
Yes.
different ever since then. And I am so not advocating use of this for anybody that's listening. I'm just kind of maybe explaining maybe what my find myself moment was. 'Cause
I
I
don't want
did
to
have to.
my true thoughts on that. Then I'll just keep them to myself. Then, since
Yeah.
what you just said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to kind of reconcile that whole entire experience and just say, "Hey, listen, man, that was normal." And no, the
Mhm.
fuck it wasn't. Like, but you need to go ahead and meander about in this world as if you didn't just experience what you did.
And there's an age bracket where that's okay because after a certain point, people, no matter how open minded they are, they're too fixed in their ways, just in
Yeah,
terms of what they understand, that it could
yeah,
literally ruin something. So it has to be done within a window of time.
yeah.
And then after that, it would be the only natural route. And then after that, it's okay. And even before that, still whatever.
See,
Yeah.
you see what Spawn said right there?
Some of my blessed, yeah, right.
Oh shit!
Spawn sounds like a Generation Xer as well.
I think he's a millennial with Xer tendencies.
Okay, gotcha.
I
There are a
think
lot of
so.
those around.
Spawn, you can correct
A
me if
lot of
I'm wrong.
those. I just categorized you. I didn't mean to say it like that. That was obnoxious.
Clark has said we have a habit of saying phrases but not being able to articulate their meanings.
Absolutely, Clark. Which is why anytime we're saying something, we need to be very cognizant of exactly what words we're using so we make our point exactly, and that way we know exactly what we're saying. And then if we're explaining it, we're okay there. You know what I mean?
What's a zoomer? What's that?
I don't know.
What's a zoomer?
Oh, Generation Z, I guess.
Is that a zoomer?
I guess. Isn't that millennial?
Spawn? Are you like 4? Are you like 4 years old? Is that like the new? Oh, Gen Z. Okay. All
So
right.
Gen Z, isn't that the same thing as millennial? I mean, I know they have two different names, but
I mean, dude, I was like, Zoomer. Is that like the because I'm thinking, okay, my daughter's Gen Alpha and she's 12, so Zoomer, you guys are like 3 or 4. No, I'm joking, man. Like Gen Z. Okay, I didn't know they called you guys Zoomers.
it's like boomers, but zoomers, but with the Z.
You should change that. You should. No, I'm not. I'm
Not with the Z.
Zoomer, then Alpha. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you are ahead of my
Because
daughter.
after Z, you have to go back to A.
Zoomer, and
Makes sense.
is that how that works? So
Apparently,
Z the A, and then
you think you go from Omega to Alpha,
so
sure.
Alpha, Beta. Okay. All right. Zoomer. What you guys could use? What's something else? You guys could use something else. I'm gonna come up with
Hey,
something else
Tone,
other
is
than
that your
Zoomer.
cat sticking up his middle finger?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Uh, yeah, we got to come up with something better than Zoomer, though.
Yeah, Zoomer sounds whack as fuck. It sounds like you stay on Zoom all day and have nothing else to call yourself. No
No,
offense.
no, dude, Spawn, you don't. We're just saying Zoomer makes it sound like
It
that.
refers to the generation born between 1997 and 2012. It's just a generation called Zoomers. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Zone. Is that what the Z in Zone stands for? Thank you for clarifying.
Zone, is you a Zoomer also? So wait a minute. I thought my daughter was Gen Alpha. She's 11. She was born in 2011. So she's Gen Z, or
She
what is she?
might be a Zoomer.
Is she on the cusp? What is she? I'll be damned if I call her a Zoomer. Wait, Gen Y? There's another one? Dude, how many of these do they got? No, you're okay. No, Zone is Gen Y. Okay, so Zoomers are after.
Now, instead of generations being every 10 to 15 years, they're now every 8 years,
What?
apparently.
Yeah, it's like wait. So they got a bunch of them. So
They
wait.
got mad
So
generations in
you got the
between Z and
millennials. So
now.
wait. So wait. Okay. So Zoomers are after
Hold on, while you
millennials.
figure
So
this out, I'm gonna go check something. 1 second.
okay, because you got the millennials, and then you got the Zoom. Where's Gen Y? Where do you guys come in? For real. Like, okay, so you got Gen X, and then I know the millennials are after us. So isn't Gen Y after millennials, and then Gen Z, Y, Z, and then they go to A again, right? I think that's what she said. So Alpha again? That isn't that how it goes? How old are you guys, dude? Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, aka Zoomers, then Gen Alpha, Gen Y. Okay, Clark, there's no Gen Y, Gen Y, 82 and 94 and 10. Gen Y? I thought that was millennials. Or is Gen Y and millennial the same thing?
Apparently not.
I think that's what it is. I think millennial and Gen there is no Gen Y. I think Alpha is Y. What? Really? Gen Y is millennials. Oh, okay. That's what that is. That's what that is. Okay. So Gen X and then Gen Y is actually millennials. Then Gen Z, that's the Zoomers. And we got to come up with a new name for that. And then Gen Alpha. Makes sense. Makes sense. I don't know, Clark. I think Gen Y is I think we just got used to calling them millennials for so long.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Right.
Yeah. Yuppies. Yeah, that was there you go. Yuppies.
Yuppies were from Gen
Eh,
Z, Gen X's generation. Well, actually, that's from Baby Boomers' generation, where they call the
okay,
young,
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
upper middle
Hipsters.
class,
Hipsters.
affluent people. Hipsters. Yeah, the
Hipsters.
hipsters.
Yeah, hipsters.
Hipsters are millennials.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Hipsters. That's who they are.
But
And
actually, the real hipsters, like the ones who started out in Brooklyn, New York, like those were the people right after us. So what's that? Generation Y.
yeah. That's what I mean. The millennials. They're hipsters.
Millennials. Yeah, exactly.
Can't
Them niggas.
fucking stand them.
Yeah, they smell funny too. No, I'm
I
just
mean,
kidding.
just it was just like why are you opening up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich shop? Why?
Hipsters are people who Clark S wants to know what hipsters are. Yeah,
Oh my
peanut butter and
god,
jelly
dude.
shop, right? So hipsters, well, I don't know. Complex may have a different definition because he's from California. I'm from New York. So to me, a hipster is a person who pops up in a place that's at the beginning of gentrification, which means a place that's in the hood and ghetto, and it's mad unsafe and cheap, but it has nice bones to it for some reason. Maybe it has nice buildings, or maybe good location for whatever reason. It's next to a bridge or something, right?
Yep.
So they start piling in, or it's adjacent to somewhere that is too now inundated with folks, right? Like Manhattan was. So this is why Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is right over the bridge, became a place for the first like real OD gentrification other than Harlem. But actually, those are different types of gentrification because Harlem was right there, right? Williamsburg was like known to be sequestered away from like the general population for several different reasons. The Hasidic Jews and lots of Puerto Ricans lived there, so it was kind of just like nobody really, and Chinese people, nobody really wanted to mess with it. But anyway, but it had beautiful buildings, and like I said, the location was great because it's right next to the bridge. So the hipsters are the people who move in and kind of like forage the new frontier or whatever, and basically then they open up a business like a peanut butter and jelly shop or an art
Like a
gallery
peanut butter and jelly sandwich shop.
in the middle of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X Boulevard, and then for 2 years it doesn't pop, and then all of a sudden 3 years later they turn into a coffee shop and it's popping. This is a
Yeah.
hipster.
Or
Oh,
or
and 9 times out of 10 they come from a different place than the
I
place
was
that
about
they.
to say what
Yeah,
they're typically transplants. So it's like they're like,
yeah,
oh, look at this. This is so cool. And then they just completely ignore the like the culture of the people there. And they come in and they think all their bright ideas are the greatest. You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like,
And they
why
wear a
don't
lot
we
of plaid flannel shirts.
yeah,
Like
and
they don't care what
roll
they
up the
really
bottom
care.
of their pants and they ride fixie bikes, right?
Exactly, and everything is
Um,
it's whatever, but they're mad anal retentive and anxiety ridden.
yeah. Everything's got to be organically sourced. You know what? Did you ever watch Portlandia?
No.
Holy shit, dude! You have got that is literally one of the funniest shows of the
I'll check it
2010s.
out. Okay.
Yeah, even Jerry Seinfeld said it. He said that is
Okay.
literally one of the greatest shows of the 2000s so far.
Okay.
It is funny as shit, and what they were doing was it's kind of like sketch comedy, but it takes place in Oregon, Portland,
I like
Oregon.
skit comedy. And
Yeah,
Oregon, a lot of
yeah,
shit to make fun of in Oregon. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
It's
Oregon.
but Portland, Oregon is like full of hipsters, and so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Even
So
the cats who aren't hipsters are now acting like they're hipsters. That's how much Oregon is full of hipsters. Like,
yeah, yeah. They're really trying to like not be hipster, but while being hipster, if that's possible,
right.
if that's even possible. But no, that show has always been like a real accurate, satirical or set. How do you even say that word? Satire based sort of view of hipsters and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Satirical. Yeah.
like they have
I'll
this
check it out.
yeah, they have this sketch called We Can Pickle That, right? So it was like these people, they were just like, pickling everything, right? That
Not the echo is back. Oh gosh.
is it
Go
back?
ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. Go ahead.
Okay. But no, like so hipsters do shit like, they pickle a bunch of stuff, right? Just because, hipsters. And so they lampoon that, right? So they just went around pickling everything. But no, that's a show that really kind of like lampoons the whole hipster thing, right? So but no, man, that's what you had a lot of in
Pretty
LA
sick.
when you had gentrification going on. You just had a lot of people moving in, and then all of a sudden they wanted to like turn the local park into a goddamn miniature golf course,
So it
right?
turns out we have the same definition of it. Look at Clark X says. He says, "Would y'all say hipsters tend to have a savior complex when it comes to minority communities that move in upon?
That's like
They have
that's
a savior
literally
complex in general. Like that is them. Like
that's
all of
them.
a sudden, before they left Iowa, okay, shit was horrible. But now that they done left from Iowa and moved into Williamsburg, like everything's gonna be okay now. Like delusions of grandeur. Like yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. They
exactly
come in
right.
here like whoa,
It's
they
not
like
the
put their
minority.
hands out. They come in, they put their hands like whoa, wait, we got this, you guys, we got this.
Right. Right. But it's not with the minority community that move in a pond. It's not with those, it's not with any new folks. It's like they want to come in and fix some old shit that ain't never been fixed, that can't ever be fixed. Like, and somehow they they think they're gonna do it with their flannel ass shirts.
Well, I mean, because that's that. I mean, look, okay, they're finding themselves, right? I guess this is their purpose. I mean, that's one hell of a purpose, right? Fix something that can't be fixed. Well, don't
True.
tell me I can't do it. God damn it.
Right.
I'm gonna spend up my dad's trust money trying, and then in a couple of years when it's all spent up, I'm out of here.
Right.
No, that's the life of that's the like sort of like the life cycle of a hipster, man. They came in, took over LA, and a lot of them live on the streets now. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but
Anytime there's a big city and you go into a place that like 10 years ago used to be mad dangerous, you're gonna find mad hipsters. That's where you'll
yep,
see them. So,
yep, yep. Like they are
like,
the first
through
people
my
to come in
estimation,
after some
go
shit
check
gets
them out for
gentrified.
yourself.
They are the
They'll be
first
right
ones.
there asking you if you need some help or some shit or
Yeah, it's usually some like some. I don't want to say that. I was about to just give a stereotypical description. Like the white guy with the handlebar mustache.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
He's too busy to worry about shaving, even though that beard is mad
yeah.
manicured.
Hold on, bro. I got some bikes to fix.
I'm too busy, bro. I'm
Too
busy,
busy,
boo.
bro. I gotta fix these bikes. We're going on a ride later.
Because I got shit to do. Yeah, I'm
That
talking to people in Nicaragua and Costa Rica because, after this ayahuasca, I was thinking, you know what? What's the whole meaning of all this?
I think the meaning is that we just source like natural, organically grown cocoa beans, and we just produce our own chocolate.
because the whole time it's been about renewable energy and just sustainable
Right,
living.
and it's totally sustainable, and like so, like the growers we're buying them. So we're not buying directly from the growers. There's like this middleman guy, and what they do is they pay the growers pennies on the dollar.
Dude, we're not buying at all. We just took a truck and like we just completely gutted it out and we just did everything from this truck, dude. Like the
Bro, so
truck.
check it out, right? Like, so, like, yeah, like what she's saying about the truck, and I swear to God, bro, you can put so much of the cocoa beans in there, and it's just like, really, what they're gonna do is just they're gonna pay them for half, and they're just gonna fill the other half up. So, bro, like, we're actually getting hooked up, but
Because
you know,
the whole time you've been getting duped, bro. Like the IRS, like it's nothing but just a front for just some
and it's
bullshit.
not like and the people, it's not like they're gonna really care anyway, because like they're not even making any money right now. So if you give them some, it's like better than none.
And you can live with the coca beans in the truck, dude. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just
This is
all in one.
these are hipster conversations, you guys.
No, there are no conversations. Them niggas just talk at you and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just came to go get some tortillas. And all of a sudden,
Go.
this fool got me, like, sequestered in the corner of the fucking Super A, harassing me with some fucking civil rights shit. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of my face, white boy.
I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like some of the worst ones were well, no, you know what? I'm not gonna go down the hipster rabbit hole. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna go any further. I'm so not, because I'm gonna start just offending everybody.
And I do like flannel shirts. So, yeah, I think it's time to stop. But, yeah, man, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just OD on a weird Friday schedule and eat a very late dinner, aka lunch, and kind of a half of breakfast. I've been doing that a lot lately. Just like
So basically, you're OMADing it.
what's OMAD? I remember this. What is that?
1 meal a day.
Oh yeah,
So you're
yeah,
just saying that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're like, well, it's part of
yeah,
this, and it's mainly dinner, but it's part of this and some of this. It's like,
yeah.
yeah. So you're OMADing it, dude. It's 1 meal. Boom.
Yeah, it's not on purpose. Like I definitely don't like to do that, but it's just been so I'll wake up in the really early in the morning and with the time change, like in Korea they do not time change. So well, most of the world doesn't do that. We're the only weirdos doing that. Like
Which
so
is a whole other conversation, right?
right. So I get confused because I don't know, it seems very straightforward, but it confuses me every time. Well, daylight saving times in general has confused me. So I'm still adjusting, and then there already been a couple of oh my gosh, I thought it was this time. It was not that time. It's like cell phones automatically update, and I'm still having this problem, but because it doesn't make any sense. So with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my schedules are very kind of just very free, as they should be. Really, it should be that way every day of the week, which I try to, but it doesn't always work that way.
All right. Well, shoot. I'm probably gonna do the same, man. I'm probably gonna go grab a bite and then just hang out with my baby cakes. And I don't know. I'll watch her like play Roblox while she plays these really interesting games. I told you about the flight where her and her
That was
friends get on a
so
they
fascinating.
they get on a plane, and then they go on a plane trip together. And I'm like, you guys went to Spain? Yeah, Mallorca. I was like, what?
It's so weird. Like I'm still trying to understand though.
Yeah, it's like, dude, they be on like they'll get on like the little FaceTime group. Like, so we're gonna go here, okay? So I think we catch the plane in like an hour, and so my daughter will come in here, and then they get their tickets and everything, and then they literally wait, and then she's like, Dad, let me know in about an hour so I can get on the we're flying out, we're going on a trip. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I feel like I want to play that.
Yeah. So they're all on the plane together, and they're all like chatting it up, and I'm just like, dude, okay, this is yeah, they're metaverse in it. But okay, well, shit. Any last words before we shut it down? She got her passport. Passport baby cakes. Yeah, right there.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's always more to say about everything. So that's always where I'm coming from. But I think we can end it now.
Okay.
Any last words?
Um, no, I think you're right. Like, there's always more to say on some shit, right? So I don't really have like a quote unquote closing thought per se. So
Hmm.
we'll just go ahead and end it, and then we'll just circle back for another conversation and another topic.
Sounds like a plan, Stan. Thank you, Clark S. He says, great
Yeah.
combo. This was fun. I had fun too. I hope you did too, Complex.
For sure, man. Because what I guess the only thing more fun is like arguing and shit, right? No,
No,
that's a fucking
this
that's
is.
a joke. That's a joke.
Oh, wait, before you go, yo, I meant to mention this. Yo, why did I hear somebody sent me a link, right?
Uh
And apparently it was to a guy who goes by 3 letters that stands for Black Gnostic something. And so somebody,
huh.
yo, he was like, something, something, something. And so the guy was like, no, something, something. And then he was like, say please. The guy was like, please. And then he was like, ha, ha, ha. And the guy was like, I don't have a problem saying please. As if he was hiding the fact that that was the most ultra homosexual shit ever. Like that's what I mean about
Dude,
this.
why do I have I
This
have a ick. I
agreement
just got
that's
an
going
ick
on. It's
face.
like the sadist, right? It's like the
Ugh.
sadist with the what's the other person? The masochist, right?
Yeah.
So the masochist, which is the person who was like, I don't have a problem saying sorry. Like, even if he doesn't, nobody asked you if you had a problem saying sorry. Like, this is not the issue. The issue is that a grown man just asked you to say sorry for some shit that had no sorry attached to it. And you immediately, because you were so desperate for his time, said sorry. And that's what the whole game was. And you try to hide it by saying, I don't have a problem saying sorry, as if that was the issue. Man, I swear that there was so much wrong with that. I don't know if you saw that, but that was
I
crazy.
want to say I'm familiar with it, but it's just, dude, those types of exchanges are ick.
Yo,
It's
that
just,
shit was so like like homoerotic and just disturbing.
dude, and there's way too much of that stuff. You know what? I'm not gonna say that. Let's just go ahead and end this because
Nah,
because
wait,
I
before we
was
go, hold on a minute. Before we
what?
go, yo, not what, okay? Not Mike dragging the living fuck out of BGS just by playing BGS talking. Yes, I'm talking about BGS Zone 559. And not Mike totally destroying this man's existence by just letting this man talk. Not BGS getting up there and saying, no, no, no. Yo, I wanted to give him a hug and punch him in the face at the same time. I can't. Okay, now we can end it.
Which
Bye,
one would you do first, though?
definitely punch him in the face
And then give him the hug?
and say, I'm sorry. Bye, Complex.
Because I was gonna say, like, I just want to know which one you're gonna do first.
Yeah,
Because
no,
that
that's
sets the tone. Because
terrible.
if you hug first and then punch, I'm like,
No, I'm
whoa, what
kidding.
did you?
I'm not in any way condoning abusive relationships. I was just
No, not
joking
at
based
all.
on something that I had said last time that we
No,
talked. That's all.
listen,
But no,
no
like
one's
that was
condoning
totally
violence.
unacceptable. And then you got over here, all natural, fake pseudo, all natural. To me, yeah, women are gonna get into these spaces just to disrupt men. Man, you better end this live now, before I start naming
All
names.
right, all right, all right. So hey, so check it out. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Check
Peace
it
out.
out. Love you. Bye bye.